Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. It is Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of You've Guessed It, Success Starter Series. Y'all know we go live each and every Sunday where we talk about different tips and tools to help you set your week up for success, because in doing the work to set your week up for success, you're doing the work to set your life up for success. So tap in, let's talk about it. Let's talk about where is your time really going, because I'm confused on how it's 2 o'clock in part. So there's that. But oh Lord, am I trying to call people? Because I'm not trying to call nobody. But like, where's your time really going? Because hey girl, hey, I need to check in with you. I need to send you a message when I get off live to check in. Where is your time going? So, you know, not just the time specifically within the day, but your time within the week, with your time within the month. Because if y'all don't realize, this is the last full week of the month. Because next Sunday is actually the last day in the month of August. But like, where your time been going? Like, where are you wasting most of your time? Where are you wasting most of your energy? Like, what's up with that? And so we're gonna tap in today. We're gonna talk about just that very thing, like where's your time going, but also utilize that to help guide us to figure out not only where is it going, but like, can we redirect it? We need to like redirect and figure that out. You're literally on my to-do list for this week, baby. So if I don't message you today, you own the list for the week to tap in with you if you haven't hit me up first. But so when we look at time, when we think about time, when we think about, you know, this whole construct of time and all things time, where are you wasting most of your time? We're gonna talk about like time. What's the word I'm looking for? Like time and energy links. We're gonna talk about time management. We're gonna talk about wins, because when we use the Lee method, we're gonna look at those time and energy wasters, drainers, things like that. We're going to examine why time management is really, in a sense, like energy management, and how to build systems around that. And then we're going to create that game plan to execute, to give you some quick wins. Because it's Sunday, so if you haven't done your brain, if you haven't made your to-do list, if you haven't planned out, updated your calendar, all those things to plan and prepare for the week, this is the time to do so now. And so with that, we need to know where our time is going, so that we can then better dictate and direct our time to where we want it to go. Because you're in control of your time, whether you realize it or not. And so as a result of that, what are you going to do about that? Like, you don't need more time in your day. Because even if days were more than 24 hours, you still would say you want more time. We talk about how we want these 3-day weekends. Then when you get a 3-day weekend, even if you do nothing, you still wish you had another day off. So no matter how much time you're given, you're going to fill it with something, and you're going to still want more time. So let's operate in the confines within the reality of the world that we live in. You got 24 hours in a day, and a week is 7 days. And for most of us, we work 5 of those days, 40 hours a week, a little bit more if you count commute time, lunch break, all of that. And we only have so many other hours outside of that when you think about sleeping, eating, you know, all the things. And so let's look at the reality of what life is. They keep saying they're going to change daylight savings time and stop springing forward, falling back. They haven't done that yet. So we can't, I know it's Sunday, and we not God. We can't create no more days. We can't, divide up. We can't pause time. We can't freeze time. So let's deal with reality. So let's look at where your time is actually going. Because how much time did you did you spend scrolling? Like just scrolling on social media. How much time have you spent doing that? How much time have you spent just scrolling on social media, watching TikToks, watching Reels, watching videos that didn't really edify your life? And I get sometimes when you scrolling through, like, fun ones, and occasionally you hit on an educational one and you learn something new. But like in real life, how much time are you wasting? How much time have you spent laid up on the couch watching TV while doing nothing else productive? How much time have you spent trying to figure out what you need to do and what you're going to do next? Because I have so much stuff to do, but I'm not really sure how to start. How much time have you figured out where to start and what to do next? And so what about how much time have you spent just like reacting? Instead of planning and being proactive when it comes to your days, your weeks, your time, how much time have you spent reacting? And so really, when you look at where your time is going, there's three main areas, and I just hit on them, of where your time is spent. You spend time scrolling, you spend your time trying to decide what to do, and you spend your time reacting. And that's where your time is going. And so if we can figure out a way to reverse engineer that and take control of your time, take control of your day, and be in control of your time, you're going to be in a better position. And so if you look at it, you can understand those time and energy wasters, those time and energy drainers, i.e. scrolling, decision fatigue, and reacting. What can you do with that information? You can examine that information and you can understand that being in a better position to manage your time is being in a better position to manage your energy. And if you really are in this better position to manage your time, you're managing your energy because you're being able to operate within your capacity. And if you're able to operate within your capacity, i.e. how much time, space, energy you really have to get things done, then you'll be able to build systems that allow you to work when you work best. I don't know how many times I done told you, but I know I'm going to keep telling you. Do you know when you work best? Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? Do you know when you have the most energy? Do you know when you have these peak energy moments? And when I say moments, I don't mean like a fleeting second. I mean like, do you know like the blocks of time that you work best in? And within that, what are you doing with that time? I know that I'm a morning person, and I know that I also get this, like in terms of work days, I get this peak of energy as well around like 3 o'clock-ish, and kind of like rock out to the end of the workday. And then in terms of the evening, which is why I have to have my reminder to tell me to go to bed, because even though I start getting sleepy, I get in this like flow state, like 7:30-ish. I oftentimes like hit this streak of like get this quick burst of energy before I go to bed. So I know when I work best. Do you know when you work best? Are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? Do you work best in the middle of the day? And within that, what type of things do you work best doing? Because just because you're a morning person, that doesn't mean do your calls in the morning. Unless your calls involve you thinking a lot, that's not where you want to put them. You want to put the things that involve the most energy, the most focus, and your most attention at the time within which you work best. As a productivity and accountability coach, I can help you figure out when you work best to help you to build systems and build schedules around that. And so as you're thinking about when do you work best, you need to start utilizing that information to help you to plan your schedule, to plan your systems, to plan your day. Because if you really if you really take the time to plan your day, to plan your life, to put yourself in the position to show up and to be the best version of yourself, you'll be able to show up and be the best version of yourself. But what does showing up and being the best version of yourself look like? It looks like you being able to tackle the day, to own the day, to use the 24 hours, 7 days a week that we have in the day in the way that works best for you. I get that there are things that we can't control, but the things that you can control, how are you utilizing those to your benefit? If you're in control of your schedule, both whether that be work, business, or life, how are you setting up your schedule to work best with you? How? My coworkers be real confused on how I can be in court, still getting work done, and still hear what the judge is saying and know what's going on around me. I work best in the morning. So if I'm going to be in this courtroom in the morning when I work best, we're going to still work on getting done the things that I can get done while I'm in this courtroom that's going to help me outside. And so by me understanding and knowing that I work best in the morning, on the mornings that I don't have court, you best believe I'm trying to knock out those things that involves a lot of my energy and flow, because also if I'm not in court, most of my coworkers are in court, which means they're not looking for me and they're not bothering me in my office. So what are you doing? And how are you setting your days and your weeks up to help you to show up and to flow through life? Because you sitting here trying to figure out where your time is going, but you've been looking at that same spreadsheet, that same document, your phone for all this time, and you don't know where time is going. Because you refuse to plan, you spend so much time trying to figure out, where's that paper? What's next? What do I need to do? If we just spend a little bit of time, like y'all literally think planning is so complicated and it takes you so much time. You can make a to-do list in not even 5 minutes. If I tell y'all to give yourself like 10 to 15 minutes to plan your week because it doesn't take that long. Because yes, there might be a lot of things that you want to do and that you need to do, but we just talked about how there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. 5 of those days, 40 plus hours of the week, you might be working. So you have limited time to get these other things done. So when you gonna do them? You spend so much time trying to figure out when are you gonna do the things that you could have done the thing. You spend some time you spend so much time trying to figure out what's next that you could have been done. So what are you doing to put yourself in this position to set yourself up to really be able to show up and to do work? Like what? Because if you can manage your time, you can manage your energy. The reason you feeling stressed out, overwhelmed, and drained and depleted is because you're trying to force yourself to work when you don't have the energy or the capacity to do so, but you know these things need to get done and you've most likely waited until the last minute to get it done, and now here you are trying to force it. The reason that I say I don't subscribe to the hustle and grind mentality is because best believe I know when I work best. And because I know when I work best and I know what it is that I need to do, I set my schedule up to make that happen. Yes, are there times that things pivot, things adjust, things have to move? Yes. But I also am really intentional about doing my best to work a week ahead, especially when it comes to work, so that as things pop up, I'm not behind on the things that are needed for this week. You have to start taking control of your schedule. Even if you don't control what's on your schedule, I'm gonna be honest and say you still do. Because if they give you a calendar and they also give other people access to your calendar, that means you have access to your calendar. So can you put blocks on your calendar that say don't schedule? Can you, if you gotta have meetings, no meetings before this time, no meetings after this time, like what can you do? Because let's be real, most things run late. So like my calendar is about, you can't schedule nothing to start at 4:30 on my calendar because I'm trying to leave and go home, and I'm going home on time. So like 4 o'clock is the last that you can schedule something, and really let's make it 3:30, 3:45 because if they show up late, they might be rescheduling. If things run late, so what are you doing to put yourself in the place or the position to where you're controlling what you can control? You might can't control what gets added to your calendar, but can you put parameters around when things get added to your calendar? Like, hey, no last minute meetings. Or be scheduling a meeting for the same day. I need 24, 48 hours, whatever the case may be. Like, yes, there are things that we can control. Yes, there are things that we can't control. But with the things that we can control, how can we allow that to set ourselves up and to be conducive? If you know when you work best, if you know how to best manage your time, that means you're in control of your time and your energy and your capacity. Yes, there are going to be times where at a time that you should have energy, you feel depleted. Yes, there are going to be times that you generally don't have energy, you have energy. But generally speaking, what are the natural ebbs and flows of your day? The natural ebbs and flows of your week. When do you find yourself being like, I don't drink coffee. I do pre-workout for my workout, but I don't really need it. But like I don't do energy drinks. Like I don't do coffee. But for those who do, when do you get that slump and you like, ooh, I need some coffee to get through this day. I need an energy drink. I need, fill in the blank. If you notice, if you take time to really like track yourself for a couple days, give it a week if you want to say, when are you typically looking for that pick me up? Maybe it's candy. Like, when are you typically looking for that thing to give you that energy rush? That's when you don't work best. And I get it. We can't just be like, hey, boss, I'm not working right now because this isn't when I work best. But that's where you put those low energy tasks. For me, I can talk to people when I don't have energy, so, for the most part. Like, I'm not having to use my brain. So I'm working with what's already there. I'm not having to create new things. And so schedule those things for when I don't have the energy. And then if I don't have meetings or appointments scheduled, that's when I do like my planning. The stuff that's going to help move me forward, but doesn't really require much brain power. And so I set my schedule up to be that way. Like when I make my to-do list for work each day, I number one, I know already if I have court or not because nothing's getting added. Yes, things get added at the last minute, but because I make my to-do list for the next day, right before going home, like that 4 o'clock-ish time, by then I have the dockets for the next day, so I know if something has got added last minute to court or not. So I'm making my to-do list based off of what's on my schedule for the next day. And based off of that, I know that these are the things that I need to get done. And generally speaking, I know I don't necessarily time block them out and say this is when I'm going to do them, but I'm like, these are the things I need to get done. And as I'm looking at the schedule and looking at the calendar, I'm like, okay, when I first get in first thing in the morning, I'm going to start with this. Then I'm going to go to this. Okay, I got this meeting here, so while I'm there, I might do this. Like whatever that might look like for you. If you're not sure what that looks like for you and you're trying to figure out what that looks like for you or how to make that work and all that jazz for you, hi, I'm Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, and I help people find that hidden time of their day, time that they can use to pour back into themselves as they pursue their goals, their purpose, and their life passion while still maintaining your current responsibilities without the stress or without the overwhelm. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk. Go to the link in bio, comment help, whatever. Like, let me know. Like, let me know how I can help you. I do both. I do a daily to-do list. So the question is, do I do a daily or weekly to-do list? And how often do I brain dump? And does anxiety ever stop you? So I'm going to answer the questions in reverse. How often do I do a brain dump? I do a brain dump every week. For work, I do it on Fridays when I plan for my week ahead. In life and business, I typically do it on Saturdays as I plan for the week ahead. Or if I don't finish it Saturday, I'll do it like first thing Sunday morning. So I do it weekly. I also, in between those times, will do it if something gets like added. And when I say something gets added, I don't mean like, hey, we need you to go to this meeting. Like if something big pops up or it's like some new project. Like say for example, I wasn't supposed to be in trial because there was a time where I wasn't supposed to be in trial because me and the state both agreed that we were going to continue the case. And then the judge was like, no, actually, no. The case is going to go to trial and it's going to go to trial on this date. So I have been planning and preparing, likely the state as well, that this case was going to go away, i.e. we had more time to get ready for it, and then now we didn't. So that was like a big project, so to speak, that got dumped on me that wasn't within my foreseeable realm of when it was going to get done. So I did a brain dump to figure out how can I push and pivot these things that are already planned and scheduled and also create the space to take care of this thing. So generally speaking, I do a brain dump once a week. Fridays for work, Saturdays for life and business. However, if something big pops up or a lot of little things start getting added or thrown at me and I find myself feeling overwhelmed, I'll stop and do a brain dump to address where these new things come into play. So no, it's not anxiety, I wouldn't say, for me that stops me. Overwhelm is what can stop me. And overwhelm often comes about by big projects suddenly being dropped on me that wasn't on the radar, or the due date for it had to adjust, or a whole bunch of little things being added at the last minute and I'm trying to pivot and adjust. So I do the weekly brain dump, and then I turn my brain dump into a to-do list. And so like how I was kind of saying earlier, and it might have been before you popped in, Carrie, that when you think about like we have these 24 hours in a day, we have these 7 days in a week, and as much as we want to create and have more time, the reality is we can't create more time, we can't make more time, we can't pause more time, but what we can do is find hidden time to work on things. And so with that, in that, and through that, what that looks like in terms of my to-do list is I'm taking this brain dump, looking at my capacity, looking at the time that I have available to work on all these things that came to me. Because sometimes what happens is as you're doing your brain dump, you're thinking about things you need to do. Those things that you need to do might not be things that need to be done today or this week. It might just be it's on my mind, let me just write it down. That's important. If it's on your mind, write it down. But as you're looking at the list, you might see that these are the priorities. And so as I do my brain dump, I kind of categorize it as what do I have to do, what do I need to do, and what do I want to do. So essentially it's kind of like thinking about it as a traffic light. What are the have to do's? That's like your red things. These are emergency 911 need to get done. Those need to do's are those yellows. Like it might not be urgent this week, but in another week or so, it might move up to that red. And then those wanna do's are those greens. Like I can get to this when I get to it. At some point in time, it might become a yellow, it might become a red. But as of right now on this list, it's not. Think of those things like scheduling a doctor's appointment, scheduling a dentist appointment, renewing your tag on your car. Depending, those could be red, yellow, or green. If you're not having any, pain or issues, but you're like, hey, it's about time for my, my annual doctor's appointment, I need to schedule that. Um, or I want to get that scheduled. If I'm having pains, hey, I have to get that scheduled. This thing has been lingering. I need to get that scheduled. Oh, I just, 6 months from now, it'll be time, my yearly. I want to get that scheduled now so I can make sure I lock in so when the 6 month time hit is already there. Tags. I know for at least me and like the counties and stuff that I live in or have lived in, typically 30 to 60 days before your tag expires, I send you in the mail saying, hey, renew it. So at that point, it's kind of like a must do. Because, hey, they send it in the mail to let you know, like, go ahead and request this bad boy. And if you're going to request it to where you're getting it in the mail, you got to mail it off in enough time for them to get it, cash it, send it back to you. So you got it before, the bad boy's expired and you're getting pulled over and getting a ticket. So depending on what the task is, it's going to fall into one of those three categories. That must do, those need to do's, or those want to do's. And so after I do that brain dump, I'm turning that brain dump into my to-do list. And then that to-do list is kind of based off of what's already scheduled. Because as you're doing a brain dump, when you get ready to start turning it into your to-do list, to start scheduling out when are you going to do these things, it's based off of, again, what's already on your calendar, what's already on your schedule. And so I take my brain dump, I turn it into a to-do list for the week, and then I think about, like, this is what this looks like for the week. And then each day, I make a daily to-do list. So typically each night before I go to bed, after I finish or whatever I'm doing, because like I said, I get that energy burst at about 7:30, and so as soon as that's like done, I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and time block out my day for the next day. Let me make my to-do list for tomorrow based off of what maybe didn't get finished today. Does anything new pop up? Has something shifted or adjusted? Like, what am I focusing on for tomorrow? And so then I'll basically time block out. And when I say time block, for me, I look at my time blocking because I work full time. Is what am I working on before work? What am I doing during my lunch break? And what am I doing when I get home? Because when I wake up in the morning, like after I get through my morning routine and all of that stuff, I have about 45 minutes to an hour in my office before it's time for me to work out. During work, I use my lunch break, my hour lunch, to work on stuff for business, things like that. And then when I get home, I typically have, if I don't have any coaching calls or anything, an hour and a half to 2 hours approximately before bedtime for me to get things done. So I kind of write down what I need to get done during those times. Now sometimes the morning block flows over in the sense of, like, if I need to call and schedule one of those doctor's appointments or something in my car on my commute, I might make those calls, things like that. So that's how I take my brain dump, turn it into my weekly to-do list, and then I make a daily to-do list based off of what finished, what might have popped up, what might have gotten added, things of that nature. So I hope that answers your question. And so use this. That kind of flows very well into the system building, because that's my system for planning weekly and on a daily basis, and honestly monthly, because it's the last week of the month, so it's time for me to start planning for the month ahead. So I wrote down what it is that I need to do to plan for the month ahead. Like, I need to come up with my new live topics. I need to schedule those lives. Like, I have to redo my clubhouse rooms for the month, send them to the girl that I co-host with. I need to come up with my goals, check my goals, update my dry erase boards and all of that. So I've written down this week is planning. So what do I need to do to plan? I'm not going to do September planning all at one point. Maybe tomorrow I'll just focus on what is my content theme for the month. And then maybe during lunch I'll be okay, well, based off that theme, what do I want to talk about? I break it up, but that's why I give myself the last week of the month to plan for the month ahead. And so when you look at that and when you think about that, you can then turn that part into the execution phase, the ability to show up and to do those things. And so when we talk about wins, when we talk about quick wins, what can you do to give yourself back time? What can you do to buy back your time? Because if one of the biggest energy, or three, because I gave three, if three of the biggest energy wasters is scrolling, social media, decision fatigue, and just being reactive, two of those things are much more controllable than the third. Honestly, all three of them are controllable, but let's take the social media scrolling out of the picture. Let's look at decision fatigue. We gotta make so many decisions every day. What do I want to eat for breakfast? What do I want to eat for lunch? What do I want to eat for dinner? Do I want a snack? When am I gonna eat? When am I gonna cook? When am I gonna grocery shop? What time am I gonna get up? What am I gonna wear to work? What am I gonna do for my workout? We make so many decisions. What can you do to eliminate some of those decisions? I meal prep. That takes out what am I going to eat? If anything, I'm thinking about, do I want to flip my lunch and dinner or something like that? Or if I make more than one meat, like how do I want to divide it up? I pick out my clothes for work and my workout clothes for the week over the weekend. Yes, that still means sometimes, like Monday through Friday, I'm looking at the clothes for the weekend saying, which of these do I want to wear? But oftentimes I'm picking out my clothes based off of, do I have court versus do I not have court? Am I going to the jail? Things of that nature. So I kind of know based off of that. What else did I say? You have decision fatigue about working out. What workout you gonna do? I do workout programs, so I literally just have to push play on the next workout because they written by the day, so I don't have to think about that. So what are ways in which you can get rid of some of these decisions that you have to make every day? Like, can you truncate them, i.e. meal prep, picking out your clothes for the week, planning your snacks, things like that. Like, what can you do to eliminate some of this decision fatigue? The other thing, being reactive. What can you do to stop being so reactive? You can plan. And by planning, you're taking control and you're owning your day, so you're being a lot less reactive. So how do you figure out when you have the energy, and do you have any suggestions on what to do if perimenopause or hormones are throwing everything off? So in terms of figuring out when you have energy, what I would suggest you to do is, if you're an energy drinker, if you're a coffee drinker, if you're I need a pick me up type thing, a type person, look at when does that typically happen in your day. That's often because your energy is dropping. So at what point in time do you typically have that lull and you need something to pick you up? Some people are sluggish in the morning and they struggle getting going in the morning. Like, I pop up out of bed and I'm ready to go, and people are like, well, why are you talking so much? Or like, why are you asking such hard questions in the morning? My brain is here. We're ready. Like, what's the issue? So looking at that kind of is a good way to kind of gauge it in terms of that. What to do if your hormones or perimenopause are trying to throw everything off. Now, let me knock on some wood. I'm in no way, shape, or form perimenopausal. I am a woman, so I deal with hormones. Fuel. How are you fueling your body? I don't think I deal with a lot of hormonal issues. Again, knock on some wood. But I fuel my body properly. Like, I know what foods often make me sluggish. And so if you can also look at that the same way you look to see, like, when you need that coffee, that energy drink, that pick me up, look to see if you notice if after I eat this, I feel sluggish. I, generally speaking, eat relatively healthy. I meal prep. I don't really eat out super a lot, things like that. However, I know those times when I have those heavier meals and I'm like, oh, Lord, I'm sluggish, I'm tired, I got the itis, things of that nature. So look and notice if certain type of foods cause you to feel sluggish and cause you to get some of that energy. And so if you're fueling your body, or even looking to see what foods are good for energy, not brain fog, the opposite of brain fog, whatever the opposite of brain fog is, brain fuel. I'm just going to call it brain fuel. That might not be the proper term, but looking to see what foods are good for things. I know I've seen these different charts that say, like, if you're craving this, that means you're really low on this. Like, if you're craving sweets, I'm making this up, this might not be the right answer. If you're craving sweets, that often means you need, like, protein. If you're craving something salty, that often means you need this. Again, I'm making up the fill in the blank answers because I'm pretty positive those aren't right. But look to see what it is that you're craving, and like find on Google, Chat, GPT, all of those things. Like, oftentimes our body is signaling to us what we need. So whether it's hormonally or like energy wise, like if you're craving a certain thing, like sweet, salty, savory, different things like that, that often means you're deficient or your body is missing that thing. And so you might think you need something sweet, or you need some chocolate, you need some candy, you need, a donut, but really your body is like, girl, give me some fruits, give me some vegetables, give me some water, give me some more protein, give me this thing. So finding ways to naturally give your body those things. I'm not anti-medicine in the sense that, do what you need, because sometimes you do need that to get yourself right. But also, doctors are paid to like push pills and things like that as well. So I try to go the natural way as much as possible before like moving on to those things. Given at my age, I don't like have those issues, and hopefully and prayerfully like I won't, but that would be my intention, would be to figure out what my body needs, listening to my body, tuning into your body, and listening to and tuning into your body applies on so many different fronts. On the energy level, on knowing when you work best, on hormones, or knowing what you need to fuel you, and all of that. And so if you listen to your body and learn your body, that's how you're going to start buying back that time. Because if you're proactive in feeding your body properly and fueling your body and getting the rest and drinking the water and, scheduling your day or whatever. I know some people do like cycle syncing, but I get if you're perimenopausal, you don't necessarily your cycle isn't regular, so that part may or may not work. But like some people do like cycle syncing to know that like okay, generally speaking, for me, like I roughly have the same energy all the time. Maybe it's because of how I feel my body or whatever the case may be, but I don't typically have that issue of to where my period's coming up, I need to do lower level activities. I know some people do deal with that, and so as a result, they try to build their schedule and their calendar in that way. Like if it's the week that you know that your period's coming or whatever the case may be, and you have a lot less energy, maybe you do a lot more of your low level tasks. Maybe you do a lot more of like your planning and your updating, your decluttering, your brainstorming, those things that don't necessarily have you forward facing to talk to people. So listening to your body, learning your body, knowing your body, that is honestly the answer to so many things. It's the answer to knowing those energy leaks. It's the answer to knowing where you're wasting time. It's the answer to being able to better manage your time. It's the answer to being able to create these systems that help you to buy back that time. And so as you're going through this process, as you're thinking through this, as you're doing this, and as you're listening to this and all of that, and you're like, where can I better use my time? How can I better buy back my time? How do I even figure out where my time is going? Like what? Exactly. Exactly. As Floridians, it's like hurricane prep. It's planning. It's all about the planning and the preparation, which is why we're working on not having that. We've been in Florida for how many years? We know hurricanes are coming. Yes, you often do have to restock up on supplies because if the hurricane don't come, you're not going to just let the food sit there, the water sit there and not use it. But there are certain things that we know we're going to need every year, so you should just have them. Because for the most part, you're not using all your batteries year to year. You might need to check to make sure, do I have them? You're likely not using all your candles year to year. Like, yes, you're probably having to rebuy, water, the non-perishable foods, things like that. But exactly, look at it and think of it like hurricane prep. Look at it and think of it like prep. Prep is prep. You're planning for the thing in advance, which is going to cut back on that decision fatigue because you're not here. The storm is outside and they're telling you, you got a curfew to be inside, and you're like, but I don't have gas. I don't have this. I don't have this. Y'all knew the storm was coming. It don't just come up out of nowhere. It comes up out of nowhere one day, but you still have that, week essentially to get prepared for it. And so if you got a week to be prepared for it, what is that similar to what I said? Doing your brain dump every week, making your to-do list and making your daily to-do list. Exactly. We're planning in advance. We're getting rid of the decision fatigue by planning and preparing in advance, and we're being less reactive by planning and preparing and knowing what's coming. Because when you know hurricane season is coming, you might just stock up. Like, for example, me. I don't drink water out of water bottles because my refrigerator dispenses water. So I currently have water bottles in my garage from last hurricane season that I didn't finish because thankfully I didn't need them and I've been drinking out of my refrigerator. But even when you know hurricane season is coming, it's like, well, what are the things that I can plan and prepare for now that I don't necessarily need each and every time? And then we just get going. It could be. It could be all of those things. It could be ADHD. It could be you being lazy. It could be you just not scheduling it. It could be any combination of the three. Because all three of those things can tie into each other. Because you might be lazy when it comes to your planning because you're trying to force yourself to plan, say, in the morning, but you don't have the energy for it. You might not be planning because you're not used to planning right now, and so therefore you haven't put it on your schedule to remind yourself to do it. I don't have to, but I still do just because I like to cross things off and it gives me the validation of crossing things off. Like, I don't have to actually write down meal prep, wash dishes, do my brain dump, plan my week. Like, I'm going to do that no matter what. But I still plan for it and schedule time for it to make sure that for some reason it don't fall through the cracks. Like, especially on those weeks or those weekends that are like busier. Like, my Sunday today is pretty busy. Like, after I get off here, I have to go live. I have to do another live, and then I have a call And then I have like a couple hour break before I have another call. Like today was like my back-to-back day. Like I had, when I finished my clubhouse room, we had about 30-45 minutes, so I went and ate. Then I had this live, then I need to do another live, and then I have to hop on a call with my family to finish planning for like our Labor Day thing for this weekend. And then I have, depending on how long that takes, I should have about 2 to 2.5 hours before I have to get on another call that's going to go from like 6 to 7:30. And then after that, it'll pretty much be time for me to wind down for the night and get ready for tomorrow. And so, yes, it could be that combination of you might be being lazy. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes you just are lazy. You know you need to do something, but you just don't really feel like it. You haven't planned for it. You haven't scheduled it. You have the energy to do so, but you just don't feel like it. So it could be you being lazy. But honestly, the better answer is probably you haven't scheduled it because you don't know when you work best. And even with knowing when you work best, you haven't put the time on the calendar to say, I'm going to do this during this time. The ADHD part likely comes into not knowing when you work best. Because even if you have ADHD, and I don't think I have it. I don't think I have ADHD, but I do know that I'm a very structured person and I thrive on structure. And so when things are a lot more willy-nilly, free-flowing in the air, I struggle. So therefore, you know you best. If you know that you struggle with getting things done, why do you often struggle? Is it because you didn't write it down? Okay, let's correct that. Let's start writing things down. Is it because when it's time for you to do it, you don't feel like it? You're probably scheduling it at a time that you don't work best, or you're low energy. And I know that you've dealt with some health things, so giving yourself grace in that regard, but also knowing that you still got to show up an adult and go through life, like creating that balance, like understanding when it comes to planning and scheduling your day, like that color system that I was saying before, like the must do's, need to do's, and want to do's. How are you categorizing that? Like, don't fill your day with a whole bunch of reds, with a whole bunch of must do's. Balance it out. Have some must do's on there, have some need to do's, have some want to do's. So if we're saying that you want to get 3 things done a day, have one of each. One must, one need, one want. And do that each and every day so that you can start with the activity that's going to move the needle most. And when I say start with, I get that might not for you be in the morning because you might not have the most energy then. But get done the thing that must get done first, and or plan or schedule when that thing is going to happen, and don't waver from that, and then work on those other things. And sometimes, especially if you don't work best in the morning, get your easy wins out of the way. Oh, I need to call and check on my mom. I need to place my grocery order. I need to do this. Those things that are going to give you those quick wins and give you the validation of I can, maybe you start with those. Like, I've started writing down things that I know I'm going to do just because I just want to cross it off. Like before, I never used to write down, do my Bible study, journal, do my Spanish lesson, and work out. Because that's my morning routine. I'm going to do it. But because I'm going to like focusing on like this time blocking thing, I started writing down those things just so I can cross them off. I started writing them down literally just so I'm going to cross them off. I do those things every day. When I wake up in the morning, I do my devotional. Part of my devotional is journaling. And then I read my personal development, all of that. I come into the office. I do my, my business work. I do my workout. And then after that, I do my Spanish lesson before I get in the shower. I have a morning routine, and my morning routine flows me through those things. But I started writing them down, just cross them off. Just cross them off. Give yourself the validation that you need to show up. Give yourself the validation to need to remind yourself that you can. Give yourself the validation to remind yourself that you can do this. So what does that look like for you? So yeah. So where is your time really going? Where's your time really going, and what are you doing about it? Are you scrolling? Are you in decision fatigue? Are you in the place of being reactive instead of proactive? What can you do to better manage your time and energy? Are you doing your brain dumps? Are you making your to-do list daily and weekly? Are you prioritizing those must-dos, need-to-dos, and want-to-dos? How are you scheduling out your day to match your energy, to match the time that you have to do so? The way that you're going to give, like, the quick wins, sometimes it's writing down those things that you know you're going to do just so you can cross them off. That's a win. Maybe it's the win is understanding what it is that you need to get done. That's what it comes down to. And so if you're looking for support, if you're looking for help, if you're looking for accountability, if you're looking for anything or everything when it comes to planning, scheduling, to-do list, all of that, figuring out when you work best, all of that, if you listen to this and you watching this and you like, I need that, hi. Again, I'm Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here to help you find that hidden time in your day, because we can't make more time. But what we can do is I can show you how to find the hidden time that's in your day that you don't realize that you have right now, and how you can utilize it to get some of those must do, need to do, and want to do things done. What does that look like for you? You can comment the word help. You can go to the link in the bio. You can send me a DM, whatever the case may be. Let's have the conversation to figure out what does that look like for you to show up in this way. So if all hearts and minds are satisfied, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach, here for another Sunday of Success Starter series. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Y'all come on back. I think you can still do it. I don't know. Y'all know social media be changing. But all the lives is scheduled, so you can always just hit the little belly thingy if that works and be notified. But yeah, if all hearts and minds are satisfied, it's been Coach Lee, your productivity and accountability coach. We're going to hop off the hill so I can go do my other live before my meeting. Yeah, I'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. Do your brain dump, make your to-do list, schedule it out, plan it out. You got this. And if you don't got this and you need help, I got you. So let's just have a conversation. You are welcome. Y'all are welcome. I hope it helped. Until next time, y'all, Coach Lee is